grab this rush job. We're going to go through it from start to finish. This one came in 20 minutes ago or so. Alright, so this is the picture they sent earlier for the wrong name. So you can either select all here, Command A, or you can go straight to your downloads, drag it into Photoshop. Apple A, Apple C, bring it into your layout that you just did last. Delete some of these extra layers. Command V, paste in there. Command T allows you to grab it and size it. If you hold Shift Option when you do this, it'll keep it all proportionate and centered. If you just hold Shift, it'll just grow that corner out. It'll still be proportionate. Return, lock it in. The first thing I'm going to do is adjust the colors so I don't forget. I can tell this one's going to look a little bit better once we do one of these, all of these. Looks pretty good. Next thing I do is add that layer mask. And then I'm going to just focus on that layer mask, grab a brush. Set the brush to an appropriate size, anywhere in that 13, 15, 2000 range. If you hold your mouse with your right hand, if you reach over with your left hand and hit the bracket right or bracket left, it'll make the brush smaller or bigger. Very handy. And if you want to change the color by adding or subtracting on the mask layer, rather than go over here and waste time, you can just hit the letter X and it'll toggle back and forth. White, black, so you can add or subtract, add or subtract. So I'm going to make this brush in that 1800 range, make sure it's on black, and curve this guy up. I'm going to shrink the brush by hitting that left bracket so I don't get away too much over here, and I'm going to actually fake in some of the shoulder before I do that. So go back in here to the clone tool, hitting the right bracket, making that bigger. This way when I feather up here, it won't have to be such a tight feather. That's probably enough. Come back over in the mask, get our brush tool, and feather that out. Just looks a little bit more. Okay, then the next thing I do is get my lasso tool and just get rid of everything that's obviously going away. When I say get rid of it, I'm really just covering it up. Not worrying about getting close. This just allows it to be more easily selected later when we use our pen tool. I can tell I just want to lean him a little bit more this way. His eyes are still a little bit. Okay, so now I come in with my pen tool and I get pretty accurate with everything that's clothes and skin. And I'm focusing on getting rid of the background again. I'm not focusing on the person. I'm focusing on what I'm going to cover up. And once I get to the hair, I just kind of keep it tight, but I still don't worry about it. I'm a little tighter than I was with the lasso tool. But we're going to come back in with a brush and get that on our second layer. When you hold down Option and click on point that has, I used to call them antlers. I don't know what they're actually called, all those. You can click on a point and it'll make those go away. So now I've got my path. I'm going to select that path with 0 feather. So always keep this set to keep that set to 0, and I always select my my feather over here, and according to the size, about 9-10 pixels for that one should be fine. Then go back into our layers, and we're still on our mask over here on this right side. I want to fill all that in with black, so I hide it, Command H, Option delete fills in with this top color over here. So I'm filling that in with black, and I still see a little bit of a black halo around here, a little bit around the collar. So option delete a few more times, and that goes away. Hit it about 2 or 3 times there. So now I'm going to come in back, same layer, mask layer, black tool, get this brush shorter, smaller, hitting that left bracket. Command D is going to deselect everything, and I'm going to get rid of all the black around his hair because I don't want any of that to show up. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do that on the next layer. Right now this top layer is going to be 99% finished, but the next layer is going to bring out some of that hair to make it look a little bit more realistic, so it doesn't look like somebody can just do it in a vector program. Okay, now I can get a better feel for how it looks. I might enlarge them, get them placed a little bit more accurately. About like that, looks great. Get my text back in there, go back to the job and see what they want. They want his name. They do not want any titles, and they want the date. So I'm going to click on the last one's name. Triple click. Command V it. And then we're going to, you can either Command T this to get it down to size. I'm going to let it render it. Or you can just assume it's already 80, it's way too big, so let's just go down to 50 and see if that's about right. $48 is still a little big. Well, about 45. Okay, and then copy and paste the date, triple click, Command C. Command V. And I'm going to double check who this is with. It's with McNeely, so I'm going to go MCK. The guy's name is Wilbur, so MCKWIL. So I'm going to save this. File save as MCKWIL. I'm saving these in a spot where I gather them up later, but you should save them to a folder with the month and the year. Okay, so now I'm back to where I was, and I still need to get this second layer. So I'm going to duplicate that layer, drag it, duplicate it, come back in on that mask layer. I want to bring more of that hair out. So I'm going to get a white brush. I'm going to set it just a little bit bigger and bring some of this out around his hair. We got a lot going on back there, so we're not going to be able to get too much more without spending a lot of time. So let's try different things. Let's try multiply. That should tends to make some of the white disappear too much. Overlay. Now it's a little too bright. Soft light. Not too bad. Whatever makes some of the hair show up and the other disappear the most, that's the one I go with. So now I'm going to come back in here and fine tune this layer with black brush. Again, just working on the mask layer. Shrink it down again, hitting the left bracket. Get rid of those plant things. Get rid of any hard edges. Sometimes you can adjust the opacity of this up here, and that'll make things look better as well. Get the small here, get rid of that dark area there. Get the opacity down, just go over some of this so it doesn't stand out too much, but the hair still looks better. And you can kind of test what it looks like by clicking on and off this layer. This is before, not bad. This is after, just adds more to it. That's it. Hit save. That one's ready to save out. File save as a JPEG. Let's keep it set to 12. Our website can easily handle it. We were having some people shrink those down to 11 when we had to email files. But let's keep it at 12. And go to our, hit upload. You can upload all 3 of these at the same time, in succession. And make sure once you get one section done, you hit save those uploads. Because if you don't do that and you go down here and do the marquee and hit save uploads before you save these all disappear. So anytime you've got one of these done, 2 done, 3 done, just hit save portrait upload so you don't have to do it again. Just depends how fast your connection is. But once this goes 100%, I'm going to hit save. In the meantime, you can go back over here, click the text off, make these two linked, lower this just a little, make sure it all still looks like it's... Sometimes things just change for me when I do this. I have to adjust, so I'm kicking it just a little bit more left. And I'll save this with an NT after it, just as a flattened file. And now upload that one here to the no text. And now again, I wouldn't want to hit save portrait uploads now because this one's in progress. So I need to wait for this one to get to 100%. But again, while that's going, I just go ahead and move on to my 8x10s. So pull up that document, delete what is there that I don't need. And then drag in the new layers. I drag this one in. I just keep the text off, but clicked. There wasn't any titles of this one. So I've got them highlighted, but they're not visible, so the eye's not on. Just drag this over here, and I just worry about sizing this first one without text. And right now I am sizing the text, but it's not going to be visible. I lock that in there. Always turn the guides off, so just, you can tell right now it just looks like it's favoring the right too much, so up and over. Those guides kind of throw things off sometimes. And then hold Option. I still have everything selected. Hold down your Option and drag it over to the next spot. Put the guides back on and make sure you can see here where his eyes right there on the edge of the whites, and this one's too far over, so click it back this way. And then turn those layers on that are the text layers. Click on those 2 layers with Shift. Lift those up for about an inch, inch and a quarter from the bottom. And make sure they're centered. Make sure it's sized about 1.5 inches from the edges. He's a little too close to the text, so you've got 2 options to either shrink him just a little bit, or if there's enough of the chest area, you can ghost that out too. Either one. In this case, I just shrunk him and left everything the same. And then File, Save, As. We don't save a layered file for the 8x10. It's just too easy and you don't need it. So give him a name. This is Will. Come back over here, upload that one. And then while that's going, move on to the marquee. I'm just going to hit save on this one and stop the recording just because I think everybody gets the idea from that.